Well, 2021 just came out of the gate blazing now, didn't it? There's really only one issue that's on most of our minds this week, and that's the crap that happened in DC at the Capitol building on January 6th. A group of domestic terrorists decided to storm the Capitol building while they were marching in DC, including one fucker who looked like he just came from the set of Braveheart. But Kevin, don't you just talk about religion and not politics? Well, yes, normally, but religion and politics have become way too intertwined to just completely separate them. Over the past several months, we've seen preachers, pastors, self-proclaimed prophets saying that Trump was going to win the election, that they heard from God that it's coming, that he's going to be reelected for 2020. And now that that's obviously not happened, were they wrong? Could they have been wrong? Oh, nope. It was fraud. Because apparently God is too weak to put the person that he wants to have in office. It must be Satan at work. Today, we're going to be looking at an article from The Atlantic called A Christian Insurrection. Many of those who mobbed the Capitol on Wednesday claim to be enacting God's will. The name of God was everywhere during Wednesday's insurrection against the American government. The mob carried signs and flags declaring Jesus saves and God's guns and guts made America. Let's keep all three. Some were participants in the Jericho March, a gathering of Christians to pray, march, fast, and rally for election integrity. After calling on God to save the republic during rallies at state capitals and in D.C. over the past 2 months, the marchers returned to Washington with flourish. On the National Mall, one man waved the flag of Israel above a sign begging passers-by to say yes to Jesus. "Shout if you love Jesus," someone yelled, and the crowd cheered. "Shout if you love Trump." The crowd cheered louder. The group's name is drawn from the biblical story of Jericho, a city of false gods and corruption, the march's website says. Just as God instructed Joshua to march around Jericho 7 times with priests blowing trumpets, Christians gathered in D.C., blowing shofars, the ram's horn typically used in Jewish worship, to banish the darkness of election fraud and ensure that the walls of corruption crumble. The Jericho March is evidence that Donald Trump has bent elements of American Christianity to his will, and that many Christians have obligingly remade their faith in his image. See, I've made comments before on Instagram, on TikTok, about how people have left their religion, have left Christianity due to Donald Trump. And I get a lot of blowback on that. And it's like, well, people shouldn't be worshiping a person. They should be worshiping God anyways. True. But seeing a lot of evangelicals support Donald Trump has caused others to question why they believe in this to begin with. Like it shakes your faith. It shakes what you're aligned with. And you're like, these people are all about this guy now, Donald Trump, who is absolutely nothing like Jesus at all. And then they start to question. So no, it's not just Donald Trump that gets people to leave, but I think that it causes a lot of people to second guess things, especially when they look at leadership who is all about the Trump. And this isn't a knock on all Christians. People have that misconception that I just attack Christians, that I have something against Christians. I don't. I used to be a Christian, and it's fine if you want to believe in God and you want to believe in Jesus. I have no problems with that. It's things like Christian nationalism where you feel like in order to be a real American, you need to be a Christian too. And those things have just become so fused together with a large sect of people that it's become dangerous. And so some Christian leaders have denounced the actions of Trump and his supporters who broke into the Capitol, such as Rick Warren. You know, we lost, go home now. But as this article says, it was too late. Somebody else had already grabbed the megaphone. This is bigger than one election. This is about protecting free and fair elections for the future and saving America from tyranny. Paranoid thinking abounded among the protesters in D.C. The QAnon conspiracy had circulated within some evangelical circles. On Wednesday, the Jericho March account tweeted a screenshot of Trump condemning Vice President Pence for not stopping the certification of the Electoral College votes. A sad day in America. It said with the prayer hands emoji. The march organizers were not mourning the attack on the Capitol. They were mourning the vice president's refusal to help the president overturn this election. It just comes down to a simple fact that they cannot accept defeat. They think that God had his hand on this, that God was, Trump was the chosen one, and God, God put him in office. And so, of course, if he loses this election, it's not because the votes were just higher for the other guy. It's because of fraud or something else at work. And all these conspiracy theories make shit very dangerous. Dangerous to the point where these rioters, domestic terrorists, not protesters, were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence." These are your so-called patriots, the people chanting, "Hang the vice president," for doing his job. There is no proof of election fraud. None. The courts have rejected everything that Trump and his best team has put forward. And you think this is a massive conspiracy? Don't you think that if this was some sinister plan, that it wouldn't come down to 2 runoff elections for the Senate in Georgia? It would be a little bit easier than that. People just hate Donald Trump. That's it. And now he's kicked off Twitter, which pisses more people off, and they're saying that his rights are being suppressed. But when you have the president of the United States of America spreading massive misinformation, inciting violence, and then not condemning the violence when it happens, this is what you get. But I'm sure that we'll see Trump media or something, since he's kicked off of the other platforms. He'll produce his own for 2021. So that should be fun. And I'm sure I'll be here to make a video when it comes along.